Well, the bright object in the sky has returned today, so I'm out this morning to have a look at, first of all, replacing the choke cable. So I touched on that in the last video clip. I'm going to replace that. I've also got the governor rods. I'm going to see about replacing the paper clip, so I'll need to take the airbox off for that. And then the other thing, got a standard clutch spring. This is obviously far too long for this particular application, so what I'm hoping is I'll basically make a hook that kind of size on this side by bending this end. But before I go that far, I think I'm going to have to investigate the clutch action. I think it's too tight. I mean, I can get that thing to move, but you have to put a hell of a force on it. So the plan is take the airbox off, change the clutch cable, have a look at the governor rod replacement, and then investigate the clutch. Because hopefully today, if this all dries up, I'll get the grass cut again. It's a nice sunny day with blue skies. Very different to yesterday where you couldn't even see the sky. Okay, so I've taken the two 10mm nuts off here, and I've removed the 10mm bolt there, and I've disconnected this pipe from the air filter housing. So this is one task. Do something different for the governor rod. Well, I've got a part called the governor rod, but I'm going to use it for the choke mechanism. And then the next thing is to disconnect this cable here. So I'll need to slacken it off up here. This will get slackened off. Remove the cable. I've already taken all the paper, the cable ties off. Had a mental block there. I had paper clip in my mind, but yeah, I've taken all the cable ties off, and then I'll get the Phillips screwdriver in here. Undo that. So undo that, let that out, undo the cable from here. To remove the cable from this end, it's quite easy. Just slacken the nut there, bring it down a bit, comes out, and you've got the end of the cable there, slips out quite easily. This part has been slackened. I need to undo that there. Can I do that with one hand? Still suffering with my mashed finger on my left hand. So that's the original cable fished out, and I've got the new cable here, so I'll get that unpacked and see how well it fits. Okay, so I've got this cable roughly put in place, so that's the midpoint. And looks like that cable needs to move back very slightly to allow. It does look like it's going back fully when you release it, but perhaps this needs to move back a tiny bit, just here. I think that's it. So that's the clutch fully off. That switch is pretty much as far back as it's going to go. Move the choke. That's half, and that's full. It's almost closed, but I think I could probably change that with the correct bit of rod in here. Well, that's this governor rod bent to shape, and it does seem to in fact close it and open it. And I've put the cable in there. I would say it's not quite exactly the same as the other one. I think there's a bit more leeway, but that's it fully off, and you can see that this is as far back as it goes, so it should shut the engine off. And then when I pull it, you can see it does in fact pull the switch across, so that's on. It's halfway position, and that's it fully off. So I'm guessing that should be okay. So I shall put the airbox back on, put the new filter and everything back in place, and then I'm going to flip the machine over and have a look at how this clutch cable connects and see if it needs any sort of lubrication or freeing up. So that's the next step. So I've flipped over the mower. So what I want to look at now is this clutch cable, which goes down, and then it goes in at the very back end, top of the deck, and then comes through here. There's a pivot. Now that, I'm quite surprised, that is actually moving very freely, so there shouldn't really need to be much. I think that's it anyway. Let's just double check that. Yeah, that is that one. So yeah, so it might just be that I need to lubricate the cable. So I'll disconnect the cable from the handle end. I think it's a 10mm again, so I'll get a 10mm spanner, and then there's a push washer type thing, lock holding it in by the looks of things. I've never done this before, so this is all completely new ground for me. What other cable? There's a cable there. Bit of a strange shape on the end of that one. Yeah, so I'll see about disconnecting this end. I think if I just disconnect it from that end, let it freely come through, it should pop out, but I won't know until I try it. So that's my next thing. So I'll disconnect it from this end, let the slack come back through, and then hopefully I can pop this out and see how freely the cable moves back and forth. Okay, so what I did was I got a pair of needle nose pliers. I held it there and I basically just twisted it out. So looking at that cable, that does look a little bit on the sort of unlubricated side, so I'll put some lubricant on it and I'll try pulling it back and forwards and see if it makes any difference. Well, there was definitely a reasonable bit of rust on this one. There's still a bit of it in there. I've been pulling on this end of the cable. I've lubricated it to some extent, and then I've put some lubricant on this end. So it is pulling. It does feel a bit rough, so presumably while it's been sitting outside, there's been a bit of water got into this cable. So really this cable should be changed, but at this point I'm not going to do that. I'll probably order another one and maybe replace it at some point once I've figured out if it's actually engaging the clutch more freely and easily after doing this work. So I'm going to put this back in, see if I can multitask here. That's there. That's that cable in. Right, so I'll see if that's any more free at the other end. Let's see if I can pull that, no problem. Yeah, it's not bad, that at all. So I'm going to see if I can do something with a spring, see if a spring will engage. But yeah, it's definitely vastly improved. It was really tight before. So yeah, I think a high tension spring will certainly do something with that. And I think the more I wiggle this, the more it's going to improve. So let's see what I can find. Okay, so the test worked. If I had a pair of mole grips handy, I would grip that there. But what's happening is, when I pull the lever with the pliers, locking that spring, it does in fact activate. So I will have a look out for this cable, because a new cable can only improve it. And if I can get one from AliExpress, like the choke cable, for a couple of quid or £3, I certainly don't grudge paying that. So that's that. So I'll see if I can find another spring that might allow me to take the tension up and see if it pulls the clutch. Right, I'm going to take the blade off. I'm guessing that's a 14. Yeah, that's a 14. So I'm going to take the blade off, have a look at it, see what condition it's in. So the wheel was driving. I didn't notice this one driving, but then again it's probably because the cable isn't pulled hard enough. So I take that blade, have a look at it, give it a little bit of a grind down on that edge and also this edge, and that'll be that. Then I'll need to get some petrol and see about giving it a quick whiz round the garden. Well, that actually came off quite nicely, wasn't too bad at all. There's definitely been a bit of moisture in the top there, probably just condensation. So that's what the blade looks like. And there, so I'm just going to give that a little scuff with my grinder. Hopefully just sharpen that very slightly. I'm not going to take a hell of a lot of metal off. So, there we go. Well, I've just freshened that up there and there. It's just a little bit sharper than it was, just taking the dull edge off it. So I'll need to get fuel, as I say, and then I'll give the grass a cut. It's getting a bit cloudier. Not sure how long it's going to stay dry, but the grass is still a bit on the damp side, so I'm not in a rush. Anyway, yeah, this fuel tank, we put some citric acid in it, but it's obviously perforated inside, so that's going to get put back together, I think, this week if the stuff from AliExpress arrives. So we got a GX200 fuel tank for a Passern GX200 fuel tank for the Lifan engine, or Lifan, however you pronounce it. So anyway, I'll put this back up, tidy my tools up, and it's definitely time for a wee cup of tea. Well, it's Thursday now. I've actually got the drive working at the moment using this cable tie. So the problem was there was too much rust and corrosion in the clutch cable down here, so there was a break in the plastic sheathing, so water's obviously got in there and it's kind of corroded it down there. So what I'm finding is this wheel is driving and this one isn't, so I need to get myself a pair of circlip or snap ring pliers, as the Americans might say. Get a set of circlip pliers, take the thing off and check and see if the little woodruff key is going into the dogs, or whatever you call it, for the drive. But I've just done a quick cut with the mower. It's working fine. It is driving on one wheel. No complaints there. The dog wasn't feeling too happy. Come on then. Come on then, lad. Eh? You didn't like the sound of the mower, did you? Eh? Didn't like the sound of the mower. So, he doesn't like his head patted, he likes his chest done. So, anyway, giving it a quick scalp. It's done okay. I need to take the strim around the edge of the fence. But that's where we are now. So, I need to see about getting a replacement clutch cable. But it is working for now, so that's a positive. The weather is back to being miserable again. It was sunny this morning. And obviously removed that wheel to see about the drive. But so far so good. My free Honda mower is now, well, it's less than £10. I think it's about £5 I've spent on it so far, not including fuel. But quite impressed with it so far. I have been watching some other videos about Honda mowers and restorations, and it does look like they're quite well built machines and worth actually fixing. So anyway, hope you're all having a good Thursday. I'm in now to get a wee cup of tea. And are you saying bye? No, he's not. He's looking for rabbits. Alright then. Feel free to like and subscribe and make any comments.